Bullony basketball.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony basketball. As you can see, I'm joined here with three amazing guests here today. To my side, I got Cloud2K. Below me, I got Jacob Blocks. And diagonal from me, I got Roundball Renaissance. How you guys doing today?
I'm good, man.
Good, man. I'm excited to be back on here.
I am too. Really appreciate you having me back on the channel.
All you guys I know have talked in the NBA community. I feel like it made the most sense to get you guys all on here together. You know, we got some hot takes here today. I think that's kind of the main theme of the episode. The first one that we're going to do is talking about first impression hot take that is based on whether the preseason or maybe team rosters, media day, anything that you've seen. From what I've seen so far, I think that this could happen, or I'm trending toward this way. I don't know who wants to start, but I'll leave the floor open. Who wants to give me their first impression hot take first?
I'll kick it off. My first one is, it's kind of based off of the preseason and also just roster construction. A lot of people are pointing at Andrew Nembhard to be the Halliburton replacement and have this breakout year and everything. I personally, though, I think that Benedict Mathurin is going to have the better year than Andrew Nembhard, and I also, the hottest part of this take is I have him actually as the most improved player. He has the opportunity to do it with the injury to Hallie, no Miles Turner. There's going to be a lot of shots to go around, and his ability to just get to the rim, get to the free throw line, and just be a pure scorer is incredible. I really feel like now with the opportunity, he'll be able to step up and put up some really good numbers, maybe even be a 20-point per game scorer.
Yeah, I'll sign that. Because last year he was very up and down for him, and the whole year he was clamoring for more shots. If they had that in a shot diet, maybe he had a more consistent year last year. So yeah, this year he's getting ready to take off.
Because when I did my predictions episode recently, I had my most improved player on the Pacers. I didn't have it as Ben Mathurin, but I actually had Jay Huff as my most improved player. I just feel like a lot of guys are going to step into roles on the Pacers this year with Halliburton out. Like, there's just going to be a lot of next man up mentality.
Exactly, yeah.
Go over, I guess, to Cloud. What's your take?
It's pretty biased. I'm not gonna lie. Some of it's because being a Wizards fan. Some of it is because the back end of this position isn't so great. But I have, by the end of the season, we're gonna consider Alex Sarr a top 10 center in the NBA. Boo, homer pick. Boo. That's okay. Hey, no, I gotta. Nobody else is representing the Wizards. I gotta do something around here. I'm the only voice going out here. But the reason I say that is because I think, if you look at last year, Alex Sarr, you obviously are immediately going to look at, the 39% from the floor, and you go, yikes, that is disgusting for a 7-footer that shoots from 3 feet from the rim. And I understand that. He shot 46% in the preseason, so, hey, that's improvement, isn't that? And we're going to get there. I think he's just going to be a good defensive center. And I'm not going to be one of those, Alex Sarr guys that thinks he's going to be the next Jokic, Embiid. He's just not on that level. But I think he's going to be, now, what I'm going to say here, a poor man's version of a prime Rudy Gobert. You're going to see a guy that could win deploy, that could be, I'm hoping he can actually catch up basketball, and unlike, Rudy Gobert. But I think he's a guy that can be a 14 and 10 kind of guy that can just average 2 blocks a game.
The biggest thing for Alex Sarr is his defense, in my opinion. That's the trait that really draws me to him. And I feel like because he had such a lackluster offensive season, a lot of people just overlook him completely as a player. But like you said, even if he's not scoring 15, 16, 20 points a game, whatever, he still has impact. And, hopefully we will be able to see more of that this year.
I really like the take that from your end. He was so bad last year that it's only up from here, and that's how he's going to be a most improved talks. Yeah, hey, I'm going to get my wins where I can get my wins.
My dad is probably one of, if not, well, I won't put him above you. I'll say he's at least maybe the second biggest Alex Sarr fan that I know.
Cool. I'm not even going to talk about Keyshawn George, because he's the one that surprised me the most this preseason. But man, Alex Sarr, we need him to be good.
Go to Roundball Renaissance. What's your first impression hot take?
I have seen enough from him in the summer league and the preseason, and I think it should be obvious to the Philadelphia 76ers front office as well. VJ Edgecombe is good enough right now to hitch your wagon to and say, this is going to be our guy of the future, and they need to trade away Joel Embiid and Paul George if you can.
Could happen. I think the Sixers, this is probably one of, if not maybe the last season, they're going to be assessing the whole Joel Embiid thing before they're okay, we got to We got, are we going to move on from him? Or are we going to move in a different direction? VJ Edgecombe, he's young. A lot of people have compared him to a Paul George, but he's like, younger for him to take the keys, maybe with Maxey, Jared McCain, and those guys like moving forward.
I really like the fit of him next to Maxey because like they talk about it in football a lot where you have like two running backs, you have like the Thunder and Lightning, how they like complement each other. I feel like Maxey's kind of the Lightning, the quick shifty guy, perimeter more, he'll shoot the three, and then VJ Edgecombe is just that brute force athleticism, go, right down your face into the paint. So I feel like those two as a young dynamic backcourt definitely gives them a little bit more hope beyond Joel Embiid if the worst case scenario is what actually happens.
So mine is actually funny because I was thinking about making mine a little bit Sixers themed, but I think I'm going to go with this. But from what I've seen so far in preseason, I feel like the Suns' young players are going to be really good, and they might even be really surprising this year. Because I was already high on Oso Ighodaro and Ryan Dunn, and then you got Fleming in the mix. I'll watch like Jordan Goodwin. Have a lot of options they could go with for guys that are like 25, 26 and younger, alongside Devin Booker. They're probably not going to be as favorable to win games as when they had Kevin Durant and everything, of course. But I just feel like the vibes are a lot better on this team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they got a decent seed by the end of the year. I don't think it's out of the picture.
I was there with you right up until the end because I do think that some of the young pieces, for sure, Fleming, Kaman Malawash, I still believe in Ryan Dunn despite his ups and downs last year. I think they can be really fun to watch, and I think they'd be a cool league pass team to watch. But I think this team is going to be dog. There's just no way this team wins games.
I will say I had them as my 12th seed when I did my predictions like about a week and a half ago. But just off watching them, I think that they're not gonna. I don't see them winning a playoff series or anything, but I think they could be. If all goes right, they could maybe be like the 5th or 6th seed. I don't expect that, but I think that a play-in is definitely in play.
I would say if the Suns were in the East, I would be way more likely to buy into like a play-in thing. But when there's legitimately 11 really good teams in the Western Conference, it's hard for me to wrap my head around them actually making the postseason. I love Devin Booker. I think Dylan Brooks is going to be really good as a culture-setting guy for those young guys you were mentioning. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man. It's a hot one for sure.
I see the backcourt of Devin Booker and Jalen Green as disgusting. Once again, this team has no good point guards. They're going to be relying on Devin Booker to run point guard again. I like their offseason, but you bring in Mark Williams, you bring in Nick Richards last season that they're never on the court. These guys are always hurt. You're going to be relying on a lot of young guys this year. And I mean, they could be fun, but I think I had them 13th or 14th. I think they're going to be really bad this year.
Maybe I'm a little biased too because I haven't seen much Jalen Green recently. maybe
you're not missing anything, man.
but and I mean that in a bad way for him, but a good way for the team. So those are all fun, and now we can move on, I guess, to the next topic, talking about. I feel like there's going to be some surprise teams this year. Of course, I mentioned the Suns in there. I do not have them in this topic for myself, but I'll leave the floor up to you guys. Give me a surprise team hot take, whether they're going to be better than maybe most people think or worse than most people think.
So I think that we all kind of expect the Brooklyn Nets to be pretty bad. I think that the Brooklyn Nets are going to be the worst team that we have ever seen in the association's history. Worse than that Bobcats team.
Wow.
This team sucks, dude. And you can say all you want about Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Thomas averaging 30 each. Doesn't matter. Nick Claxton, not a very good player. Doesn't impact winning. They drafted 5 rookies. And the GM has already said that he wants to have a good pick next year, so they're going to purposely tank. This team is going to suck.
Glad I picked the right Knicks team, or the right New York team.
How many wins do you need to break that record? Because didn't the Hornets do it in a shorter season?
I think you need 9.
Okay.
I think if they got 8 wins, they would have 1 more than it, but the win percentage would still be lower.
That's disgusting.
That is a little extreme. I don't think they will be the worst team ever, but I do think they will win probably 15 games or less. It's not going to be a good season.
I would lock under 20 wins for them for sure.
Yeah, I think I just saw something that said their over-under is 21, and I'm like, everyone should pick under on that. I don't know.
That's just free money at that point.
All right. My next team is, I think, a team that kind of got lost in the mix of the Eastern Conference. I have the Magic being a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference this year. I think everybody obviously has talked about the Cavaliers, the New York Knicks, and I think the Atlanta Hawks are up there for a lot of people. But I think the Magic, with the addition of Desmond Bane, now I'm banking big time on Franz Wagner remembering how to shoot a 3-ball. But I think they have probably some of the most talent in the East outside of those top 2 teams that I think if we see like an all-star level Franz, an all-star level Paulo, maybe he even takes a jump into a star level if you think he hasn't yet, and just a good all-star version of Desmond Bane, I think in a super weak East, I think there's like no way they're bottom. I don't think they're outside top 4 at all, but I think they're going to be top 3.
They can kind of just rely on their defense, which I really like. Like just in general, if you're a team that can rely on your defense and then kind of piece together your offense, I think that's like a good recipe to be a good regular season team. And obviously they have guys like Paulo, like Franz, like Desmond Bane, like you mentioned. Also, they brought in Tyus Jones to kind of help with the offensive flow. So I feel like their offense should be at least good enough. And then, yeah, their defense will just be elite and carry them to a lot of those wins.
People gave them a bad rep last year because they ended the year, I'm pretty sure, the 7th seed because they played Boston as the 2 seed that year. But, I mean, the year before that, they were in that 4-5 matchup with Cleveland. And the start of last year, there was a decent amount of time where they were a top 3 seed. And that was before they got Desmond Bane and probably before they addressed maybe a little bit more of the shooting side of it. I know it's still not perfect, but they addressed it a little bit more this offseason. Third, I could definitely see. And honestly, like, I mean, Jacob's not going to like this below me, but whether it is the Knicks or the Cavs, I could see the Magic winning more games than either your guys' teams if all goes right. I don't think it'll happen, but I don't think it's out of the picture.
I definitely think with that and then how young they are and hungry, I could definitely see them being like a overachieving regular season team. So I was going back and forth between 2 teams. One was the Spurs, just because I think they're going to be really, really, really good. But I feel like a lot of people are kind of saying that. So I ended up pivoting to the Hornets. I think that the Hornets are going to probably be a play-in team as long as they stay healthy. And I would even go out to say that they will make the playoffs through the play-in since the East is so weak.
Really looking forward to Brandon Miller's ascension too. We saw the preseason play. He's looked really good. He had up and down year last year as well. So if he can stay healthy and LaMelo Ball is healthy for the first time in his career, seemingly I could see an avenue where they avoid the play-in entirely.
I thought they had a really underrated offseason, bringing in Colin Sexton for like nothing. Drafting, of course, Continental, but then I really like their draft choice of Ryan Kalkbrenner too. I'm a big fan of Moussa Diabate as well. Like, I think they definitely have talent. It's just about staying healthy, and hopefully they do.
They had a really good offseason, but like everything revolves around LaMelo Ball with this team. And like, I just, like you said, Austin, like it just doesn't happen. He just doesn't stay on the court for more than 35 games a year. And and unfortunately, it just fell into the category where it's like, I'm not going to believe it until he finally does it.
Yeah, he's in the Zion category now. You have to prove it to me that you can do that.
I do have a bet going on with actually my best friend. We made it in 2018 that after 10 years, the Hornets would win a championship, and they have not made a playoff appearance since. So
time is a ticking, dude.
Yeah. Oh, luckily I bet it against it. Like, he bet for it. So like, yeah. But
how much money's on the line for this one?
Oh, it's just $1.
Oh.
It's a $1 bet, but I said if I win, I'm gonna frame it. You know, it's going back there. My surprise team that I have, and it shouldn't really seem like much of a surprise because they were pretty good last year, but I think because of one key factor, a lot of people are maybe counting them out, and it's the Indiana Pacers. I think they're gonna be pretty good this year. I know obviously Halliburton's out. I know TJ McConnell's gonna miss some time, but like Jacob was saying, Ben Mathurin could be a most improved player candidate. Andrew Nembhard could be a most improved player candidate. Like I was saying, Jay Huff could be a most improved player candidate. Like, they just have a really deep team. You know, Aaron Nesmith, Pascal Siakam, that I think that they're going to be able to spread the wealth very well. They have good coaching. They have a good system that I don't think it's out of the picture that they could be like, not just a playoff team. They could be like a kind of middle of the pack playoff team. They could be a 5th or 6th seed. Now, are they going to win a championship? Absolutely not. But I think that they could be a better team than people think.
I think this year we're going to figure out if that team is superstar centric in Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam, or if it's scheme. To draw a parallel from a different sport, like the 49ers, you could have put any quarterback in Brock Purdy's spot, and they were still going to perform the way that they did. Andrew Nembhard's and the Ben Mathurins can pick up the pace where Tyrese is not going to be here.
I agree with that because I feel like the Pacers are the team to kind of be able to deal with their star player being out for the whole season. Like, Jason Tatum for the Boston Celtics, he got hurt. They blew everything up. They're like, yo, there's no way we're going to be good, so tank it, like, whatever. The Pacers, they kind of did that with not re-signing Miles Turner, but they still have enough there where I'm like, I could see it happening. If I'm not going to guarantee it, but I could see them still being a really fast-flowing offense, still putting up points, and still being a decent team.
I'm super buying into Pascal Siakam this year and Benedict Mathurin, like you mentioned before, and obviously Andrew Nembhard. And I just feel like they're one of the teams, like you mentioned, they're almost like a scheme-proof team where it's like, hey, like as long as you have guys that can score the ball, this team is going to put up a lot of points. I think everyone on the court wants to run. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do at center with Isaiah Jackson, Jay Huff. I don't really know. But I think between just Pascal Siakam and Benedict Mathurin, this team's going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, even like in my predictions, I had them 7th, but the 2 teams I had above them, I could see them being better than. I mean, the Sixers, like last season, everything went wrong for them. There's potential that could happen again. I actually have Detroit above them, but I think that they could even be better than them because me personally, I wasn't a fan really of what the Pistons did much of this offseason. I think they did what they could considering the whole Malik Beasley thing that went down, but I'm not a huge fan of the moves they made, and also like the Pacers were a better team than them last year. So we can keep the pace pushing here, and it was not no pun intended there talking about the Pacers, but the next topic, talking about player trade hot take this season. You don't have to exactly give me the team that they will be traded to, but I'm mostly looking for like maybe one guy that will be traded that maybe most people are like, oh wow, I probably wouldn't expect him to get traded. Who wants to go first on this one?
I can start on this one. I mean, maybe mine won't be like super surprising, but I think now with like the recent update of his injury, I think Jaden Ivey, that his time in Detroit is done. I think, like you mentioned before, the Pistons had a really good year last year and then weren't really able to do much this offseason. So it's like you didn't really capitalize on what a great season you had last year. So I think it's very apparent they need a second ball handler near Cade, whether it's backing up or playing with him on the front line. But I just think Jaden Ivey's just inconsistent. He keeps getting injured. They're going to have to try to find somebody that Cade can give the ball to because, I mean, I'm a really big Cade fan. I think he's a top, obviously, like I think he's pushing 5 point guard in the league at this point in time. The turnover issues are big, and it's because he has the ball in his hand all the time. I think he just needs somebody to kind of give him some space on the second, and I think Jaden Ivey, I mean, I don't know what you're going to get for Jaden Ivey at this point in time. I mean, I can't even tell you Ron Holland's going to be safe either. I think they have a couple pieces they could look to make like a big ISO kind of scorer.
I know there was like those slight rumors about Devin Booker maybe having a homecoming to Detroit. Like that would be the archetype. I feel like that would be perfect next to Cade, just as an elite scorer. Obviously, Devin Booker is able to be a playmaker as well, ball handler. I don't think it would happen because I think Devin Booker is just a Phoenix Sun for life. But I like that idea on like a potential, like if they really want to go super young and then, swap him out for a scorer like that.
If that trade were to happen, Devin Booker to the Pistons, and I would hate this for Jaden Ivey because I'm still a fan of his, a backcourt of Jalen Green and Jaden Ivey at this stage in their careers is disgusting. I wouldn't even turn the game on. I would do something else if the Suns were playing at that point.
Yeah, that would be rough for the rims, both on from dunks and from shooting. No disrespect. But going into my trade, I actually mocked a specific player to a specific team. Domantas Sabonis to the Memphis Grizzlies. And I feel like a lot of people are really low on Sabonis because the last time he was in the playoffs, they kind of, he flamed out, if you want to say. But I feel like if you put him in the right situation, he will be able to show that he is a very good basketball player. And the front court of Sabonis next to Jaren Jackson, I feel like would be perfect on paper. I feel like they just cover up both of each other's biggest mistakes to perfection. Like Jaren Jackson's not a good rebounder. Sabonis is one of the best rebounders in the league. Sabonis isn't a good defender. Jaren Jackson is one of the most versatile defensive bigs in the league. So obviously you have to see it on court, but just in my mind, I'm thinking the Kings might be going into a rebuild. The Grizzlies just re-upped on picks from the Desmond Bane trade. Maybe we could work something out. I feel like it would be cool to see together.
During the Grizzlies' best years recently with Jaren Jackson and everything like that, the two bigs that they mostly had were Steven Adams and Jonas Valanciunas, where it's maybe Steven Adams is a little bit more defensive minded, but I think that a lot of what they do well is kind of similar to what Sabonis does well. I can see that working out.
Yeah, it's really funny you just mentioned Memphis because Shams just put out a tweet that Scottie Pippen Jr. is undergoing a procedure for his left big toe and will be reevaluated in 12 weeks. Just another
spot for
Grizzlies
Jay
injury.
Knight.
I almost considered a different Piston to be traded. I'm going to leave him off, though. I think De'Aaron Fox will get traded this year. I think one of Castle or Dylan Harper will prove to be so good that they go, oh, we don't need De'Aaron Fox. We can trade him for future draft assets or a more established wing defender that we need to pair next to Wemby for the next 10 years.
That'd be tough coming off of the extension that he just got. Just extending him like that, like, I don't know. I want to see more than just 5 games of him next to Wemby before I say, like, you know what, yeah, get rid of him. Like, Dylan Harper, he's been looking amazing so far in preseason, don't get me wrong. But I definitely would rather see, like, the veteran presence of De'Aaron Fox at guard next to the super young team.
And I think if anybody on the Spurs getting traded, I think Devin Vassell's the guy. I think he's just, like, with the contract, and it's just non-progression these past 3 years. I think if anybody's going, they're going to try to find somewhere for Devin Vassell to go.
Yeah, I will say with the Fox thing, I do feel like he won't end his career as a San Antonio Spur. I think he's going to get traded, and he's probably going to get traded, not maybe this season, but in the next year or two. A part of me also, like, it's going to sound crazy, but might want Dylan Harper to be traded just because he took Kawhi's number 2, and that doesn't sit right with me. But anyways, no, like, I do think that De'Aaron Fox could be traded because they have so many young guys that can already fill in a spot. You said Castle and Harper; those are like the main 2. Like, you don't need a zillion guards, But mine is actually funny because Cloud, when you picked Jaden Ivey, it was very similar to the other side of like maybe what I was thinking. Because you even said maybe they need another ball handler around Cade, but I feel like this guy wants to win. I feel like that he's gotten a raw deal is essentially what I'm getting at, because a lot of guys on his team get hurt, or maybe it seems like they're not fully committed, and I think that he might be a little bit upset. You saw some frustration with him and the guy who's done the most on this team last year as well. I'm going with Tyrese Maxey getting traded, and I think the Pistons could be a good spot. I had the Pistons on here as like one team, maybe the Timberwolves is another, because we know Mike Conley's getting older. I know they got Rob Dillingham and everything, but I do think that that's going to be a little bit more of a work in progress. Tyrese Maxey is already an all-star level player.
I don't hate it. I do think there's a decision that the Sixers are going to have to make eventually, especially last year. I feel like we saw what the zenith of a Tyrese Maxey led team could be, and it's not very good. Like, roll the dice on Jared McCain and VJ Edgecombe backcourt rather than trying to make Tyrese Maxey happen when you don't really have the proof that it can.
I actually was going to say the complete opposite. I was going to say I think that the Sixers would be really stupid if they traded Tyrese Maxey. Like, I know last year, like, obviously, like you said, he was one of their most consistent pieces, and obviously it didn't lead to wins. I think that probably has more to do with the fact that they had so much salary dedicated to people that were not on the court. So, like, I feel like that could be obviously different depending on, like, if it's set up like, Tyrese, you're our guy. I know earlier I was talking about how I really like the fit of him and VJ Edgecombe too. But number one above it all, when the Sixers versus the Knicks in the first round of the playoffs, that was 2 years ago now, Tyrese Maxey had me so scared. Like, obviously Embiid was hurt, he was still killing us, but Tyrese Maxey was the one that I was like, oh my God, he was getting to the rim at will. He was pulling up from super deep. I know he had that, I don't know if it was a game winner or the one it sent us to overtime. I forget which one, but in game 5 of, game 5 in MSG, he had that shot. Like, I think that Tyrese is the truth. I think that post Joel Embiid, he should still be here in Philly, and we'll be able to still, keep them going. So hopefully they don't trade him.
No, I agree. I completely with Jacob. Like, I think Tyrese Maxey isn't their 1A of the future, but I think he's proven to be one of the best Robins in the NBA. And I think obviously it's hard finding that Batman, the number 1 guy. But when you have something there, I think you don't want to give up on it just because of a down year where Tyrese Maxey was working with doo-doo all year. It was the 76ers were bad last year, really, really bad. So I think you could put a little bit on Tyrese Maxey, but I think if you look back at the vacuum of the whole team, I don't think anything. I don't know if anybody really would have stepped in there last year and really had any type of good success.
And I agree with everything you guys are saying. Mostly my prediction is coming from what I feel like will end up happening more so than what they should do. Because I'm a firm believer in Tyrese Maxey. I feel like they should invest in him and Jared McCain and VJ Edgecombe and the whole Joel Embiid thing and really bringing Paul George in didn't really make much sense to me anyways. Those should be the guys that they try to get rid of. But also, you got to think of it like this. I mean, people might not want to trade for Joel Embiid if he's missing games again this year, and they say like his knees are never going to be the same. Paul George, I mean, I don't know if you could have taken him even if you paid someone to take him. Like, it was kind of rough last year for him. So I don't know. I think that might be what ends up happening. And if you really think about it, like, he's young, but he's also like slightly like older probably than like the McCain and Edgecombe duo that they could be investing in. So he's kind of like a splitting difference between like the Joel Embiid and those guys. Now this one's gonna be good because this could be anything that you guys pull out of the hat here. So I want you guys to give me an all-time player ranking. That's a hot take. This could be like so-and-so is top 10 all time. This guy is not top 50 all time. However you guys want to do it, it's up to you. Let me hear him.
I would like to go last on this one.
Okay.
I was going to volunteer to go first.
Go ahead.
So I'll kick us off. I say Hakeem Olajuwon is the best big to ever play the game of basketball, not named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I think that he is better than Bill Russell, better than Wilt, better than Shaq. If you count Tim Duncan as a big, I know he's not technically a center, but he's a big. I think that Hakeem is better than them all. I think he is probably one of the more underrated guys if you talk about like grand scheme of things. I feel like not a lot of people talk about Hakeem Olajuwon. But I think it was 2 summers ago, I went back and I rewatched the 1994 finals of those Rockets versus Knicks. Since I'm a Knicks fan, I wanted to just see some championship ball. And Hakeem was just jumping out of the page or jumping out of the screen for me when I was watching because he seemed like, I feel like we're doing a lot of Sixers talk this video. He looked like a more physical, more dominant MVP level Joel Embiid, which is crazy to say because Embiid is so amazing, but Hakeem had that same shooting touch, the post moves, the rebounding, the defense. He was just incredible when I was watching him. And I feel like when you look at the accolades too, like he's got the longevity, the championships, MVP, defensive player of the year. He's got everything. And I feel like he deserves a little bit more respect than what he gets.
That's really funny you mentioned Hakeem because for the next one, the all-time hypothetical, I'm talking about Hakeem in that one. But my all-time breakout take is I think Jokic is already a top 4 center of all time. And maybe even top 3, depending who you have up there. And he's a 3-time MVP. He obviously is a champion, finals MVP, 7-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA as well. We know he's the best passing big man of all time. Probably the best offensive big man of all time. Obviously, you have like the dominance of Shaq and like Hakeem you're just talking about. But I think band for band, like spacing the floor, like a 3-level scorer and passer, I think Jokic is the best offensive center we've ever seen. I understand, like, you might want some better defense out of your guy down there protecting the rim. I understand that, but I think just as a pure skill level, he's just head and heels over everybody down there.
I think that with both of those guys, I think they're both undisputed. Like, top 15 or very close to top 15, like, no matter what way you shape it. Just for your take, Jacob, I think that of those 4 guys you listed in particular, I do have him better than Bill. I don't have him over those other 3, but I think that you could make the argument. Definitely from a skill set standpoint, I think that the one thing that holds him back is just like he did have some years where they maybe fell short. And he did also have years where they exceeded expectations. They won a championship as a 6th seed, and no one's ever done that before. But even like the early 90s, and then I think like once they added like what was seen as like an older super team when they had like Barkley and Pippen and stuff, like they were expected to still do something. And then, while they won those back-to-back in between like kind of the MJ three-peats, I think most people also look at like, well, why didn't he get back there? You know what I mean? But I do think that that's fair. And then for the Jokic one, I'm a firm believer in Jokic. I think that he's underrated as a defender. He's not the defender maybe that some of those other guys are, but I do think that offensively, you can make an argument one of, if not the greatest player we've ever seen. I like both those takes. I will give mine third because I know Austin said he wants to go last. It's a bit of an old school one, and I've said this on the channel before. I feel like this guy is pretty household top 15 player all time in most of the rankings, but I think he's top 10, and that is Oscar Robertson. Maybe a little bit even one up. Actually have him as my 2nd highest point guard of all time. No shade on Steph because I have Magic first and I have Oscar second, but I have Curry third. But I just feel like Oscar, he's credited for the fadeaway, he's credited for the shot fake, so he was definitely an innovator of the game. There isn't a whole lot of footage that you can go back on, but just from watching him, he was like levels above everyone else, and he could play in any era. A guy who's like a taller guard, he could defend, he could rebound, he could pass. To rebound among a big man's era where guys like Wilt and Bill Russell and like Walt Bellamy, and there's like all these, Willis Reed, and yet he still averaged like over 10 rebounds a game, especially when there was no defensive 3-second violation, so bigs could kind of just camp down low. There was no 3-point line, so bigs could kind of just camp down low again. I don't know. I think he needs more appreciation, because people have averaged a triple-double since, like Westbrook and Jokic last season. But I feel like he's more than that. Like, I think he was also an innovator of the game. And also, I don't think player empowerment would be as strong as it is without him. You know, the whole point of free agency, like, that's not a thing without Oscar. So
I want to disagree with your take, but I can't. Bars, absolutely.
You know, I was with you, but I mean, Steph Curry, honestly, I might have him number one. I know, shout out Magic, everything, but I watched Steph Curry. I didn't watch Magic Johnson, so he just gets a little edge. To see you have Oscar Robertson above Curry definitely is like shocking, but like overall, if you're saying like he deserves to be higher than like consensus, I could probably agree with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, I don't have him above Curry. I have Curry at 2, and I think he's fighting for 1, but I'm also not going to sit here and tell you I know a lot about Oscar Robertson, so I'm just going to trust you and say, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I do think they're all top 15 players of all time, and I just feel like it should be more unanimous. Like, I think if you find the average in rankings, those are going to be your top 3 point guards. But I get frustrated when I see guys who rank like top 10 point guards and they don't even have Oscar on there. You know what I mean? And it's like, how is he not even on there? Like, I feel like it just should be obvious. He's like at least the next guy after.
Top 10.
Yeah.
That makes me curious. Like, where do you have Chris Paul point guard wise?
I think I have him 6. I'll go through mine real quick, adding a little bit extra. But Magic, Oscar, and then I have Curry. I have Isaiah Thomas, even though I don't like him as a Bulls fan. Steve Nash, and then Chris Paul.
Jason Kidd, remember that?
I think he's 8th. I have Walt Frazier, and then I have Jason Kidd. Yeah.
Walt Frazier, hell yeah.
Heck yeah. All right, Austin, let's hear it.
I think the key to a good hot take is that you believe like 80% of it, and then you can talk yourself into the other 20%. For this one, and I feel bad because the present company, Cloud, has a Funko Pop of this guy that I'm getting ready to slander. I believe this 210% with my full chest. Don't care, and I'm gonna expound on this. So give me a chance. Shaquille O'Neal is not a top 10 basketball player ever. He's barely top 15 because basketball is an all-encompassing game. You can't just be good at one thing and expect to be in these top 10, top 5 scenarios, right? I think inarguably, here's the list of players that are better than Shaquille O'Neal, no particular order: Bron, MJ, Kareem, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Steph Curry, Kobe, Jokic, Bill Russell, and Tim Duncan. And arguably better than him, Hakeem, Wilt, KD, Giannis, and Oscar Robinson. Because Shaq wasn't the best scorer. He's not the best rebounder. He's not the best defender. He's certainly not very efficient when you incorporate free throws. He's good. I'm not going to pretend like he isn't. That would be a crazy thing to say. But to put him in this pantheon of greats that do everything in this game, win at a high level, efficient, great playmakers, great scorers, he just isn't that.
Here's the one thing I will say, because I do think that that's definitely fair. I think from a skill set standpoint, he's lower than a lot of those guys. I respect you putting Oscar Robertson there too. The one thing that I think that you lost me on though is saying Giannis. And it's not that Giannis is not like a great player, because I think Giannis is a top 20 player pretty much on any list, maybe top 25 bare minimum. But I just feel like it's very similar to what Shaq does, but Shaq was a lot more dominant. Of course, like Giannis can hit the occasional 3 every now and then, and maybe he's a better defender, although in recent years, I probably would say he's maybe not the defender he was at his best. For me personally, I just feel like dominance should be accounted for as well, and Giannis is maybe the most dominant player in the last like 5 or so years from like an inside standpoint, but I feel like nothing other than maybe Wilt could replicate Shaq in that sense. So that's kind of the only thing. I mean, other than that, like everyone else you put, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but I do think like Giannis is maybe a little too much.
So for Giannis specifically, 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, champion, Finals MVP. If he had a Kobe, he'd have 4 or 5 too. And the last 7 years of Giannis's career is up there again with some of the greatest 7-year stretches ever. So it's hard for me to not put him in the same category, and he's worlds above Shaquille O'Neal as a defender, not just down low, but positionally on the perimeter, the whole bit. The whole most dominant player ever thing is also fake, in my opinion. That's a made-up thing, because again, he wasn't the most efficient player in his day, not the best scorer, not the best rebounder, not the best defender. He had to create a title for himself to be relevant in the media. That's what I think.
I just think
Real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just counterpoint to the dominant thing. He, like, Hack-a-Shaq was created because he was that dominant. You know, like, I know outside, like, if you're not in the paint, yeah, he's not dominant. He's not going to hit you with a three or, you know, jab step you, whatever. But at him down low, it's almost guaranteed a bucket. And the easiest way to score points in the NBA is a layup / dunk. If you are the best or one of the best ever to get a layup and dunk, I don't know. I feel like when you said it at first, like he's not top. What was it? Not top 15.
Not top 10, barely top 15.
When you said that, it sounded very shocking. When you went down the names, I was like, all right, it's not as shocking, but I don't know. I feel like some of the reasonings I can't fully get behind. Like, I definitely think he was super, super dominant.
For the domination thing, yes, Hack-a-Shaq. I can't deny that was a useful tactic then, and still to some point today, you know, despite the take foul rule. Why did he only lead the league in scoring twice? Why was he never the efficiency champ if he was that dominant around the rim? But I mean, again, basketball is an all-encompassing game. We have to incorporate all of these things. We can't just think big man put ball in hoop and think he's good.
I mean, early years, of course, he was sharing the league with the greatest scorer of all time, Michael Jordan. Once, you know, he was playing with Kobe, of course, that takes shots away. Also, I will say, I mean, obviously I'm being a little bit theatric here, but, you know, Chris Middleton was looking a little bit like Kobe in that 2020. But go ahead, you can say it.
Had Shaq continued his physical dominance from Orlando and carried that through even 2001, and I don't mean because he was obviously still dominant for whatever that term means. I just mean that the overall best player, again, because of its all-encompassing nature of basketball, the best version of Shaq was in Orlando, and we haven't seen that since 1996.
I mean, I get what you mean. I would probably disagree, though. Like, I feel like he was at his best with the Lakers, but I don't know. I guess then that's where we just disagree.
He's more, like, underrated in Orlando. Like, people don't talk about how good he was in Orlando compared to, like, relative to how good he actually was. Like, obviously the Lakers is what a lot of people know Shaq as, but yeah, I would probably agree that the Lakers was his peak. But it's close. Like, you know, we're splitting hairs, you know?
Yeah, and I also think people kind of have this idea of Shaq that he had like a 4-year prime because of like the late stage of his career. Like, I think, like you said, from the early 90s when he was drafted up until I'd say even like that Miami championship, obviously like it trailed off towards the end, but like Shaq was like quote unquote dominant for 10 to 12 years. Like it was a long period of time. And I think you talk to a lot of people about Shaq, they're like, oh yeah, like a lot of people forget, like said the Orlando days, they look at the Lakers days, but it's like, oh yeah, he was good for like a few seasons. Like, no, that was like over a decade of Shaq.
Most people, it's usually like that 12-year span might start in their 4th year and go into like maybe their 15th, 16th year. Like his was probably the first 12 years more so than anything, which might make it seem like his career fell apart maybe earlier than people thought, but I mean, he came out dominant. I like the takes though. I feel like everyone had a pretty good hot take there. This one I think is going to be really fun because it's very similar to the last one, only putting a little bit of a cause and effect together with it. So an NBA all-time hypothetical hot take. So maybe if this thing happened, this might have happened as a result. Who wants to go first?
I'll kick us off again. Okay. My hypothetical is if in 2021 Kevin Durant's foot was an inch shorter, they would be NBA champions. They would have won that year, made the finals, beat the Suns. KD got his ring outside of Golden State. James Harden is an NBA champion. Kyrie got his second one outside of, you know, LeBron. And you could even go even further on how this changes the landscape, because like maybe all three of them are still in Brooklyn. Maybe they win another one, you know, like however you really want to look at it. But I remember watching that game, that series, like all of like non-Knicks series. That Bucks-Nets series is probably one of my favorite of all time that I've watched.
One thing I will say about that, I mean, I'm not going to say what that thing is because I don't know if you guys have it over there. But I do think that that's true, assuming one other thing still didn't happen.
How would you have felt being a Knicks fan if Brooklyn got one before you did in recent history?
So, like, honestly, when that was happening, that was, like, the Knicks weren't good yet. I'm pretty sure that was still pre-Jalen Brunson. I was just enjoying basketball. Like, you know, like, I think I went to, that was the year they versed the Celtics in the first round, right? So I went to one of their games. Yeah, I went to one of their, I forget which game it was, but one of their games there. My friend is a big Nets fan. So like at the end of the day, I like Kevin Durant a lot. I like Kyrie Irving a lot. They're still in New York. So like I was rooting for them. Would it have burned a little bit? Probably. But I mean, yeah.
I think a lot of people wanted to see them succeed, though, also because, like, it was the Nets. And it's like, how often are the Nets, like, a team that's, like, up there? You know what I mean? I mean, in the ABA, sure, but, like, in the NBA, they haven't really, other than, like, the Jason Kidd era when they made the finals a couple times. And, like, maybe it was cool with Vince Carter and some. They tried that little thing with Paul Pierce and Garnett that didn't really work out. But, I don't know. I think that, like, that gave people hope that it's like, okay, a championship could come.
Actually, this is, like, one I completely believe in as well. Like, if Kevin Durant didn't wear a size 24, they're probably in the NBA Finals that year. So, like, I completely agree with you.
I've got a little bit of a throwback here, and I was between this one and another one, but I did a video about the one I'm not choosing recently, so I'm just going to leave that one alone. If Arvydas Sabonis comes to the NBA in 1986 when he was drafted by the Portland Trail Blazers, he would be a top 3 center, top 3 big of all time. And for those who may be unaware, he was originally drafted in 1985 by the Hawks, but at the time he was under 21, so the pick was voided and like this whole thing. He's drafted by the Trailblazers the next year, but because he was in Soviet Russia at the time, and the Cold War was going on with the United States, the Soviet authorities would not allow him to come over to the States until after the conflict had resolved itself. So he didn't come over to the league until 1995, like 9 years after he was drafted. So we're missing a 9-year prime of this guy when you ask everybody else in the league at the time when he was quote unquote washed already. Most dominant before Shaquille O'Neal, one of the best passing bigs ever, one of the best rebounding bigs ever. He's 7'3", great shot blocker, this whole thing. So if we were able to see him from the 21-year-old that we were supposed to, rather than getting a 30-year-old post Achilles tear, then I think we'd be having some really interesting talks about who's a top 3 center in the world.
Slightly off topic. Whenever I hear Arvydas Sabonis, I always think Bill Walton as well, and I feel like he's another kind of like what if situation. And I just wanted to voice that. Rest in peace, Bill Walton.
R.I.P. for sure.
Yeah, and people think of Arvydas Sabonis, and like I always say this too, and it's, I think, no disrespect to Domantas Sabonis, because in the NBA he's actually achieved more, but he's nowhere near the player that Arvydas Sabonis was. He's pretty much like the closest thing to like a pre-Jokic that you'll find in this NBA, and at that time he had like so many already injury issues, it wasn't really in shape, so yeah. But I like it. Would he, I will ask you, so he would rank higher than Shaq for you then?
Oh yeah.
just wanted to make sure we get that out.
That was an easy one. Yeah.
My take was that if Michael Jordan would have stayed retired, Hakeem Olajuwon would be the undisputed second best center of all time. And so obviously MJ retires and he comes back and they do the three-peat and he wins like one or two more MVPs, I believe, in that time span. I think at least 2 of those seasons, the Houston Rockets, the one they lost in the conference finals to the Jazz, I believe. But I think Hakeem Olajuwon could have got himself one more MVP in those, because I think that 95 or 96 year, 21, 11, and 3, like I think he could have got himself one more MVP. I think he could have got himself one more championship. And I think, again, like people that don't like Shaq, I think would have put him over top of Shaq. All time, if Michael Jordan doesn't exist the second time, Hakeem is number 2, no doubt.
Yeah.
I agree with this one.
I mean, you really think about like those times, like after he retired the first time, I'm guessing is like what you mean, right?
Yeah.
So like the Jazz made the finals and like the Sonics as well, and the Pacers were good, and like Orlando, of course, for a year had like Shaq and stuff, but there wasn't really a team on par with the Bulls, like to put it simply, in those times. So the only thing is like that kind of goes against that is that he'd never made the finals again since, and obviously he didn't go through,
Cool. We don't think about that.
But I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe if he wasn't like in the league, Jordan, like some of those good teams could have went to the Rockets, or good players could have went to the Rockets instead of the Bulls. So I think it's good. It's actually funny though that you have that, because my take here, it's kind of similar. It does involve the Rockets. My take here is, and I think I've maybe said it once before on my channel, but if Yao Ming does not get hurt, the Rockets win the 2009 NBA championship. And I think that, I feel firmly about that, and that is also to the same run where T-Mac got hurt. So I'm thinking they win the championship even if T-Mac is still hurt. And I say that too as well because I feel like they were just a really deep team. You had Ron Artest, you had Shane Battier, Aaron Brooks, Louis Scola, you had vets like Dikembe Mutombo and like Brent Berry, you had like Kyle Lowry, Carl Landry. Like, this team was like mad deep, and they actually went to 7 games in the second round with the Lakers, even though Tracy McGrady didn't play and Yao Ming missed most of that series. If Yao Ming's playing, I think they win that series. In the next round, they're playing against the Nuggets, who had a solid team, but me personally, I don't think anybody is stopping Yao Ming in that scenario. And every time that they played Orlando around that stretch of time, maybe Dwight Howard achieved more, but if you look at the head-to-head between Yao Ming and Dwight Howard, Yao Ming would always get the better end of him. And again, too, the Magic in the finals did not have Jameer Nelson, so they were missing an all-star player there as well. I think they win it. I do.
I think it would be interesting for that matchup too, because we've heard it the last couple of years. It's like, oh, no one cares about the finals if it's a small market team. Like people were saying they weren't watching it last year because it was OKC and Indiana. No one would have watched Houston and Orlando finals in 2009. No chance.
Hey man, maybe only me, but I'll take it.
I feel like it would have been cool too, because like, when's the last time, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, we've had like a position battle in the finals like that, where like, I mean, I guess I'm stupid because I'm thinking like Kevin Durant versus LeBron. It was probably a little bit more than just Kevin Durant versus LeBron, but like where it's almost strictly like star player in this position versus star player of this position go head to head. Like that battle of centers, I feel like would have been really fun to watch.
Yeah, I think this year, like, maybe they tried, like, to paint it out like that, but it just felt like the Pacers feel like more of a unit. And that's not to say Halliburton's not great, but, like, the Thunder, it feels like, you know, Shea is that top-tier star, and then you have everyone else that falls in their line. Like, the Pacers, anyone can beat you on any night. So it's, but, yeah, I do see what you mean.
I want to, like, a little bit unrelated, it has to do with that team, but, like, because that was the first year, like, I started really watching basketball. Was that not the same year that Mutombo was on the team and he, like, retired when he got hurt? Like, I'm pretty sure they were still in the playoffs and he retired.
That was like his last year, yeah. It's like even then, like he would technically get a ring.
He would, even if he retired? Yeah.
When the Lakers won in the 70s, I think they offered Elgin Baylor a ring, like even though he technically retired midway through the year. So I would think so. Obviously, I don't know for sure, but I mean, I feel like you should. Maybe.
Definitely. I was just curious, like if that would count because you're like retired out of the NBA type of thing. I don't know.
Hey man, I would count it, but maybe the record books won't. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to say about that before we move on to the mini game?
Good.
I'm ready to get to it.
All right. So this is what I call the NBA Epic 10s minigame. So how this works is I have 3 different things that you guys are going to have 30 seconds to try and give me names. As you guys are like saying the names, I'm going to like mark them down if you guys get them right or not. I'm looking for the top 10 in every like team I give you for a specific category. So for instance, if I say you're going to do 30 seconds and I want you guys collectively to name the top 10 in Bulls points. Well, of course, you're going to say guys like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And this is totals, by the way, not per game. So like Luol Deng will be on there as well. And that's pretty much how it's going to work. Now,
That sounds like fun.
Now, of course, like this could all be used for seeding later, so you guys will all end up with the same score. However, the way I'm going to decide like the seeding tiebreaker is that like whoever like the highest on each like top 10 list, like the better ranked players would get the higher seed. But if you guys all do well, like I said, you could have like some of the highest seeds for the season. So, with that being said, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Wait, so we all are on the same team though, right?
You all are on the same team. So,
Okay.
So the higher on the leaderboard is worth like an additional more points. So if you are like the number 1 on the leaderboard, that's worth 10 points. Number 2 is worth 9 points. Number 3 is worth 8 points, all the way down. I'm really going to put 32 seconds on the clock because we might have some lag. So if it's 30 seconds, I'm accounting for the lag for you guys. So you guys are ready?
Nope.
Yep.
So give me the top 10 all time for the Wizards in total points.
Bradley Beal, John Wall,
Keep going.
Wes Unseld,
Yeah, kind of sweet bad.
Marcin Gortat, he was there for a while.
Oh, that's all John Wall.
15 seconds.
I feel like I got
I think that's it. I think they only have 4, and that's the only people that's ever scored.
4 players that have ever played for the Wizards. Gilbert Arenas.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so you guys, that is time. Bradley Beal was on there. He was second on all time, so that got you guys 9 points. John Wall was 4th, so that got you 7 points. Wes Unseld was 5th, so that gets you guys 6 points. And Gilbert Arenas was 10th, so that got you guys 1 point.
Who was the number 1 leader?
Elvin Hayes.
I completely forgot about
All
it.
right. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw away my jersey. Cool.
But so that is a total of, let's see, 23 points for the first one. That's not bad. I think you guys will get a lot of names on this because I feel like we've actually talked about it a lot on the episode. But are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So again, you'll have 30 seconds. You guys can start by naming Houston Rockets all-time leaders in total rebounds. Go.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah, Hakeem. Is Yao? Do you think Yao cracks the top 10?
Ralph Sampson.
Might as well say it. Yao Ming, yeah. Dwight Howard. He might be only there for a little
It's a
bit.
couple of years there.
Clint Capella.
Oh yeah, Clint Capella.
Nene.
Got
PJ Tucker.
Got about 10 seconds.
I don't know. James Harden was there for like what?
Lou Robinson.
Harden
Luis
is good.
Scola.
Yeah.
Tracy McGrady. Somebody.
Okay, so that is time. You guys actually got 5 of them.
Nice.
So Jacob, you said Hakeem, so that gets you guys 10 more points. He was number 1 on there. I think a few of you guys said it, but I think Cloud said it first with Yao Ming. He was 6 on the list, so that gets you guys 5 more points. And then Harden actually is on there, so that gets you guys 4 more points.
Great pull.
And then Clint Capella, he was 9th, so that gets you guys 2 points. And Ralph Sampson was 10th, so that gets you guys another point right there.
Okay.
So in total for that one, that gets you guys, let's see, 19, 20.
I can't believe Lou Robinson wasn't on there.
Yeah, I know, right? It was broke my heart too. So that is 22 points for that one. So you guys are sitting at 45. You got one more left. This is the last one. Are you guys ready?
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. So last one again. You'll have 30 seconds to tell me leaders for the Miami Heat in total blocks. Go.
Dwayne Wade.
Hassan Whiteside.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Alonzo Mourning. Shaq.
LeBron James.
Chris Bosh.
Okay, about 15 seconds.
Bam Adebayo.
I'm just gonna say Udon because he was there for 20 years.
Let's go
Yeah.
with 2.
Got about
I said Dwayne Wade, I think, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Glenn Rice.
3, 2, 1. Okay. So as time, that one was your guys' best as a group. You actually got 7 out of 10.
Nice.
So number 1 was indeed Alonzo Mourning, so that is 10 points right there. Number 2 is Dwayne Wade, that is 9 more points right there. Number 3 is Hassan Whiteside, that is 8 more points.
That's crazy.
Number 5, you guys got Bam Adebayo, so that's 6 more. Number 7 on the list is Austin's guy, Shaquille O'Neal. We got Chris Bosh at number 8, so that's 3 more points. And Udonis Haslem sneaked in there at number 10, so that is another point. So it's 14, 22, 32. That is 41 points for that round in particular. So all in all, that brings you guys as a group to 86 points. That's pretty
yeah.
good.
Right,
yeah. Now, of course, like for seeding purposes, I don't know exactly right now, but I'll have to put that together. But you guys will all have 86 points individually. So how's that feel for you guys?
Is there any like basis? Like, do you have anyone else do this?
Well,
Or
you
are we the
guys
first?
are the first. So right now, you're all sitting up
Well,
at
then we're the best.
podium.
Number 1.
Yes. And actually, it's just funny. Like some of the guys that are on here. Like actually, I didn't say this, but Elvin Hayes was second on the Rockets rebounds too. So
Really?
that would have been a big pull. I mean, Moses Malone. Trying to think, you guys got most of the ones for the Wizards. A lot of them were like 60, 70, like Gus Johnson, Phil Chenier, Walt Bellamy. The Heat
Wizards
blocks.
fandom, man.
The 3 you guys missed for that were Ronnie Cycli, he was 4th. Joel Anthony, believe it or not, 6th.
I almost said Joel Anthony, but I couldn't remember if he played more than the Heatles. That was the only thing holding me up.
It's kind of shocking to me. He has more than Haslam. I mean, I don't know. But and then PJ Brown was 9.
I feel like we did really solid though.
Yeah.
You guys did do good. I think even the worst one you guys did, you got like at least 4 of them on each of them. So that's pretty good in a matter of 30 seconds too to think about it. So not too bad. But all in all, I mean, it was pretty good. We'll have to see how anyone else does on that mini game in future episodes. But like I said, you guys are top 3 right now. So it's a good start.
Hell yeah.
Right.
I'd say it's a good start, but of course there's no one else to go off of. But take it as you will. But again, I appreciate all three of you guys being here. I feel like it was a pretty good episode. A lot of hot takes for sure, and of course the mini game was fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. You got anything you guys want to add before we wrap it up?
Just thanks for having me again. It's always fun being on here. Great hoop talks with all these guys. Make sure you check out everyone on the screen.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, absolutely appreciate the invite back. Love collabing with all you guys. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, it was great talking to everybody today, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I have to get all you guys back, of course, in future episodes and other stuff. But again, appreciate you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and we're out. Peace.